I mean, we've covered the incident. Let's really cover it more in depth about like his band members, people and business associates, things like that. You guys are in bands, and it's like, I imagine, like, I mean, I don't know if anybody knows anybody that played with Jon, but imagine what it would be like if he had, what he did. Everybody associated with him, all these people wanted to throw them in that category. And I mean, that's a tough thing to deal with, man. I mean, these guys are like, they had to put up with a lot. And this business is not kind to things like this. I mean, people always looking to bring you down. When I say business, I'm talking about music business. What do you think it was like for those guys to deal with that? I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but I'm going to touch on this briefly before we get into whether he could really successfully resurrect his career or not.
Go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, I mean,
see what you think.
So I could see this from a couple points of view. As you had mentioned earlier, and you made a really good point that honestly hadn't really crossed my mind, but when his band members quit, of course there was endless amounts of pressure. Everybody wanted a quote from him. Everyone wanted an interview. Everyone wanted an answer. If we're just being honest, they wanted to hear them say the thing that made them feel good. Whether this side of the conversation wanted to hear him say, like, we stand by our guy, he was right, he didn't do anything wrong, or the other side wanted to hear him say, like, this guy's a full-blown idiot and I won't be in a band with him anymore. Everyone just wanted to hear the thing they wanted to hear. So I understand that they had to pick sides, they had to do what was best for them. The thing that admittedly, I'm not like the world's biggest Iced Earth fan. I like them, but I couldn't tell you like everybody in the band's names. I don't know if those dudes are in other bands. And see, that's where it gets kind of hairy, because if me, for example, I'm an outspoken guy. I think that's no secret. But if I fuck up, it affects my band. But what about the guys in my band? If they stand by me, what does it do to their other bands? So, if you're the vocalist of Iced Earth, and again, you can stop me if I'm wrong. Those guys are in other bands, aren't they? Okay, so how could he look at the members of his other bands and say, sorry guys, like, I'm getting canceled, so you're getting canceled along with me? That's tough.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think some of this goes back to, it could be that Jon was not thinking about it, but I can't speculate on that. I don't know.
Right.
So, but there is no doubt that ripple effect. It can destroy careers by association, because again, our weird absolutist culture where there's just no room for forgiveness in anything or understanding. I just a few days ago, Tony, I don't know if it's something me and you were discussing on Facebook, but somebody brought up an actor that, is way outspoken and anti whatever. I mean, it wasn't me. Probably not. It was part of the thread. Anyway, I had said, look, I really don't care what an artist's political proclivities are. I just don't, it doesn't mean anything to me. Are they a good artist? Do I enjoy their work? A great actor is a great actor, regardless of whether he's a socialist or a communist or a monarchist. It doesn't matter. Are they, some of them should probably, I think a good example is Robert De Niro. I think he went too far with some of it himself. And it's not a good look on him. But when I stopped watching the dude's films, he's a great actor. I like the work he does. I think he was kind of dumbass for saying the stuff that he did, and he's doubled down on it since. Who cares, though? Yeah. But at the same time, not everybody is so forgiving and sees it that way, and it can have terrible consequences just for the association. Yeah. The discussion that we're having right here, I'm used to getting all kinds of shit from people, so I really don't care. In fact, it's amusing at some point or another. It's like, really, let's have that conversation then, shall we? Yeah. I dare you to have that conversation with me.
Yeah, and let me speak about something that went on. So I mentioned briefly about some of that, with his band members. So when that happened, about like the next day or the day after, for those of you, and Justin, you may not know this, Jon had another band called Demons and Wizards, and the singer from Blind Guardian, which is a pretty prominent power metal band, Hansi Kürsch, is in that band with him. Probably the most known person that Jon created music with, believe it or not. So on their page, and Hansi's probably waking up like, what the hell happened? Like, he probably doesn't even know what's going on to begin with. And everybody, I mean, people were saying that, how could you make music with this guy? And I mean, the amount, I'm not going to really go into the comments. The comments were downright disgusting. I mean, they were absolutely disgusting. And it was pretty quiet. He didn't say anything at first because he doesn't know what's happening. And mind you, this is Jon's best friend for like 30 some years. Okay. I can tell you, Hansi is an extremely good dude, wonderful person. He came on my show a lot in the late 90s, early 2000s every now and then. And the guy's a really cool dude. He's definitely not some hardcore left or right winger, nothing like that. And people were just, I mean, Blind Guardian would post about something that they have going on, and then people would just fill the comments with some of the most hateful rhetoric I think I've ever seen. And finally, he just abruptly said, okay. He just said, I'm leaving Demons and Wizards. Didn't say anything else about it, and rightfully so, because, again, like any rational person, they're going to sit there and wait for the facts of this or the real story to come out. And then recently, probably a year ago, I'd like to say, or maybe 2 years ago, in an interview, he said he thinks Jon deserves a second chance. He came out and said it. I didn't really see a lot of hate or anger towards him for that. I mean, there was a little bit, but again, it goes into I think it was Blabbermouth that posted it, and you know how those comments go, right? And
my favorite.
Oh yeah, exactly. But believe it or not, there wasn't really that many hateful comments. I mean, the amount of hateful comments towards Jon had gone down quite a bit. And you know, a lot of people were saying the guy deserves a second chance. I mean, you still have the people that want to still like bury this guy the rest of his life. But the bottom line is, he dealt with a lot of nonsense over it. I don't really follow the other guys in Iced Earth that much. I mean, Stu Block sings for like Annihilator now. But like I didn't really follow them, but I can tell you the comments directed at Hansi were absolutely disgusting. And they were absolutely ridiculous. And so he dealt with that. But again, three years later, came out and said the guy deserves a second chance, went out and publicly said it. Did not receive the hate that I thought that interview was going to receive for saying that. So it's kind of a long-winded way of kind of going through and telling you what they dealt with. So, and that's what.
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't easy. I mean, we've had one episode in the history of Workhorse where someone in my band said something that was, it was a boneheaded thing to say, but it wasn't hateful. It was kind of taken out of context, whatever. I won't put him on blast. I won't even say what he said, but we did have one episode where like somebody took some screenshots and they ran to Metal Sucks with it because, that's the kind of, dirt sheet stuff they're going to publish. So, and luckily Curtis, our publicist, headed it off and we took care of it. But there was never a doubt in my mind that I was going to stand by my dude and I wasn't going to throw him under the bus. And, if that was going to cost me some fans, then that's fine. I think at a certain point in time, your integrity is worth something, right. If you cower to the mob, what I have learned over the years is that if you apologize, that only makes it worse.
Boom.
If Correct. You look at, and I know this is getting outside of metal, but it's music and it's relevant. If you go to Jewel, the 90s singer Jewel.
Yeah.
If you go to her Instagram right now and you look at her most recent post where she's making the whole crocodile tear video, I'm so sorry, I hurt beautiful people, it absolutely just reeks of ass kissing and pandering. But the damage is already done. She's already pissed off the people she's pandering to. And now in the process, she's going to piss the other side off for apologizing and for going back on every. So now she's essentially just pissed off both sides, where she could have just shut up and it would have blown over. But I just feel like if you apologize, it's never enough, and that just gives them ammo to like rub your nose in it longer and harder. So yeah, I'm kind of in the boat of just shut up, quit digging the hole deeper, and let the chips fall. See how long it takes to blow over. I don't think apologizing has ever fixed one of these situations.
And that's exactly what his band members did. They just kind of were quiet, and that was it.
Yeah, that's the play. Really, it is.
I think the apology becomes the scarlet letter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it is an admission of some sort of culpability of guilt when it isn't. It's more like it's supposed to be something that you do out of respect for a relationship. I don't have a relationship with all these people that say crappy things about me, so I don't care to apologize to them for something that might have upset their feelers. So I understand, though. I get Jon did issue an apology and an explanation, and I got to respect him for that, because he wasn't addressing the people that wanted to cancel him. He was addressing the fans that didn't understand what was going on. And so I felt that was that's a lot more authentic than going, oh, gee, I'm so sorry, I'll be contrite. I'm going to work on myself and do better. Who was that? He was a banjo player who was it? A few years ago for country band. And he dared to say on Instagram that he read Andy Ngo's book on Antifa. And he found it to be very good, and he recommended it. They just blasted him to the point where they kicked him out of the band. This dude he started the band with them. It was his lifelong career, and they were like, no, you got to go. And he issues his apologies, and I don't know that he's been working since. I don't know that he is or isn't. Point being is that apology is really the scarlet letter. That's what burns you down.
Yeah, in Jon's statement, if you look at the part where he said he apologizes to his fans, he said, for those of you that aren't fans anymore or don't like me, his whole attitude was kind of like, it is what it is. I noticed that you bringing that up, because I noticed that at the end of it, that was kind of the attitude that he kind of had, because he knows there's nothing he can do about it. So, he didn't disparage them for not following him. He just said, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a distinction to be made too between an apology where you are taking heat for something you didn't do, and a statement where you are explaining your actions and saying that you are, sincerely regretful for something you've done. I think that
contrite.
Yeah, exactly. Couldn't have said it better. Yeah, I mean, I don't fault Jon for putting that out. I think that if anything, it was very big of him. It was brave, and I do think that, like, if he's going to have a road to redemption, that had to happen at some point in time anyway. Whether it was right after or whether he waited 2 years and released it, he had to say that no matter what. Even if he didn't mean it, like, he had to say what he said.
Hey everybody, Tony here from the Metal Command podcast. Again, I appreciate your support. Since 1998, I have hosted this show in one form or another, starting off in radio and now in the podcast format. Again, thanks for watching, and if you like what you see and hear on this show, by all means, please hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell to be notified anytime I do post a video, and if you see this program on any other form of social media, please give me a follow there. Again, I always appreciate your support.